So I want us to look at this word together so that we can revise our perspectives and revise our way of thinking. Because we've been using this term in our everyday walk of life to describe certain situations, to describe people's attitudes, their behavior, or their character. But as to whether what we always want to describe really means what the word stands for is another thing. Now, sometimes I've actually been misusing this word to mean what it is not. Okay, so that's why I wanted to interrogate it. When you say someone is a fool, does it connote the absolute lack of knowledge? Does it mean that the person lacks intelligence? If you say someone is a fool, the answer is no. When you say someone is a fool, it does not mean that they lack intelligence or knowledge. Just that these are people who are not appropriately using probably their intelligence or their what? Knowledge. So when someone's behavior seems not to be in sync or seems not to be in line, or someone's behavior is untoward, behavior is an act. It's not the question of IQ. Okay, so we cannot generalize it to mean that the person lacks intelligence. All right. However, how they are able to apply that knowledge or that intelligence is now the reason why we probably will describe them as fools. Now, the concept of a fool can be approached from both the philosophical, moral, and practical perspectives. In classical wisdom literature, including biblical and that of philosophical traditions, a fool is not simply someone lacking intelligence, but someone who consistently misuses knowledge, reject wisdom, and behave imprudently despite better alternatives. That is a fool. Now, in epistemological background, or closer to epistemological background, a fool is someone who resists, wisdom, and is unwilling to let go or revise beliefs. They are unwilling to revise their beliefs, okay, even when the alternatives are more credible. And so, 3 days ago, I was describing certain kind of people that I was talking about dogmatism and that of rigidity. So you can see that a fool is more or less the same thing I was describing the other day. Someone who is dogmatic and rigid, in how they carry themselves and how they do things. Okay, so in essence, what I'm saying is that a fool does not mean an absolute lack of intelligence or lack of knowledge, but the misappropriation of it is what we describe as foolishness. Because constantly, people make efforts to draw the attention of others, maybe an attitude that needs revision, and yet they'll continue to forge in a certain way or in a certain direction. That explains what we describe here as a fool.